And once you put this system run on autopilot, repeating old limiting scripts, reinforcing fear, hesitation, and doubt every single day, what if for just 3 days you consciously took the wheel? What if you gave your brain the exact words it needs to start changing you now? Biologically, emotionally, behaviorally, that's what we're going to do. This isn't theory, it's action, it's neuroscience. And if you stay with me for the next few minutes and actually do this for 3 days, you will start to feel a level of clarity, strength, and momentum that most people never touch in a lifetime. Let's begin. When you talk to yourself, you are not simply reflecting on life. You are shaping the very architecture of your brain in real time. Your brain is plastic, meaning it can change, but it doesn't change randomly. It changes based on repeated experiences. And one of the most powerful experiences it responds to is your own inner dialogue. Every word you speak to yourself sends electrical impulses across neurons, strengthening some circuits, weakening others, biasing you toward action or inaction, toward fear or courage, toward clarity or confusion. And here's the critical piece. The brain does not care whether what you tell it is positive or negative, true or false, helpful or destructive. It only cares about repetition and emotional intensity. If you tell yourself repeatedly, I can't handle this, or I'm just not good at this, those words are not neutral. They are a training stimulus. They are literally firing and wiring neural pathways that make the feeling of inadequacy and helplessness more accessible, more automatic the next time. Now think about that for a second. Most people walk around unknowingly rehearsing self-doubt, fear, procrastination, and failure, reinforcing it at the level of the nervous system, and then wonder why change feels so hard. It's not because they're weak, it's because they've been practicing the wrong thing unconsciously for years. But the inverse is also true. You can decide consciously to start building different circuits. When you talk to yourself with words like, I am adapting, I am getting stronger, I move forward even when it's hard, you are not lying to yourself. You are training your nervous system to default toward resilience. You are rehearsing a future version of yourself that is capable, focused, and relentless. And every time you do it, you make that future version more real, more automatic, more instinctive. This is not some vague motivational idea. We know from research that positive self-directed speech activates the same reward circuits that light up when you experience a real success. Meaning, when you talk to yourself in ways that reinforce growth and capability, you aren't just feeling better, you are literally shifting the chemical environment of your brain toward dopamine, acetylcholine, and noradrenaline release. These are the very chemicals that drive attention, learning, memory, and motivation. So when I say talk to yourself like it matters, it's because it does. It matters at the deepest biological levels. It matters in how easily you can lock into deep focus. It matters in how quickly you recover after a mistake. It matters in how much energy you have at the end of a hard day. Most people live their lives like a leaf blowing in the wind, carried by whatever mood or thought happens to show up that day. But when you change your internal dialogue, you stop being the leaf. You become the wind. You become the force that shapes where your mind, your energy, and your life go next. And the beautiful part is this shift starts faster than most people realize. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to interrupt the old cycles and consciously inject a new voice, a stronger, clearer, more deliberate voice for 3 days. 3 days is enough to start changing the feeling tone of your mind. 3 days is enough to prove to yourself that you are not just a passenger. You are the operator. You are the architect. Now, this doesn't mean you won't hear the old voice, the voice of doubt or fear. It will show up. It's supposed to. It's a sign the old circuits are still alive. But here's the key. You don't argue with it. You don't reason with it. You simply outnumber it. You flood your internal environment with the kind of words you would give to someone you love, someone you believe in, someone whose potential you refuse to let go to waste. You do it with energy, you do it with commitment, you do it with the understanding that your biology is listening and responding with every word. And if you take this seriously, if you talk to yourself for just 3 days with the level of clarity, strength, and direction that your nervous system has been craving, you will start to feel it. You will start to feel the shift. It won't be a matter of waiting months or years. The brain is fast when you give it the right signals. The brain is eager to adapt when you finally point it toward the right target. Most people never experience this because they never consciously decide to take control. They underestimate the stakes. They underestimate the power they're already holding every time they think a thought or speak a word internally, but you're not going to underestimate it anymore. Not after today. Not after what you're about to experience, because starting now, for 3 days, you're going to speak to yourself like your life depends on it, because it does. There's another principle you need to understand if you're serious about changing your life, and it's this. The brain does not just respond to who you are right now. It responds to who you believe you're becoming. Your internal dialogue should not simply describe the current moment, should project the identity you are building into the future, clearly, confidently, and relentlessly. When you talk to yourself, most people make the mistake of reinforcing the version of themselves they're trying to leave behind. They say things like, "I'm so bad at this," or "I always mess this up." What they don't realize is that every time they say that, they're coding that old version deeper into their neural circuitry. They are practicing being stuck. They are rehearsing failure. Instead, you need to start speaking as if you are already standing inside the life you want. Speak as if you are already the disciplined one, the resilient one, the focused one. Because when you do that, you are giving your brain a map, a destination, something real to move toward. The science is very clear here. Your nervous system does not perfectly distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is experienced. That means when you consistently speak in the language of your future self, you engage the same pathways that physical action would strengthen. You literally make it easier for your behavior to align with your goals because your brain has already started experiencing you as that person. So when you face a challenge, don't say, "I hope I can handle this." You say, "I am the kind of person who handles this." You don't say, "Maybe I can stay consistent." You say, "I am the type of person who shows up every day, no matter what." Simple, clear, assertive, not because it's about wishful thinking, but because you're training your biology to recognize a new normal. You do this not once, not twice, but repeatedly throughout the day. Every situation you walk into becomes a chance to either rehearse the old story or rehearse the new one. If you keep choosing the future, if you keep speaking from the place you want to live from, the brain will adapt. It will start to close the gap between who you are and who you're becoming. And if you commit to this even for 3 days, you won't just believe it. You'll start to feel it anchoring itself inside you. Because your brain is always listening. And right now, it's waiting for you to give it new instructions. The way you speak to yourself internally can either sharpen your focus or scatter it. It can make you faster and more decisive, or it can slow you down with hesitation and second guessing. And the difference often comes down to one thing: clarity. Your brain and nervous system crave clear, simple instructions, especially under pressure. The more stressed you are, the more essential it becomes to communicate internally with precision. When you're tired, when you're overwhelmed, vague language like, "I hope this goes well," or "maybe I'll figure it out," doesn't help you. It dilutes your energy. It splits your focus. What works is giving yourself short, powerful commands, immediate, actionable, non-negotiable language. Commands like lock in, breathe slow, move now, finish strong. These phrases are simple by design. They bypass overthinking. They anchor your attention to action. They create a direct bridge between intention and behavior. When you issue clear commands internally, your brain responds by shifting your state. It organizes your posture, your breathing, your attention around that instruction. You tell yourself, "Eyes up, stay sharp," and your body starts matching it. You say one step at a time, and your system organizes around progress rather than overwhelm. These are not just words. They are triggers for a full body response. Think about it like this. The brain, under stress, wants leadership. It wants certainty. If you don't provide that certainty internally, your mind will default to old habits, hesitation, confusion, even fear. But when you step in and direct your mind with short, decisive language, you take the driver's seat. You tell your system where to go, and it listens. This is especially critical when you're facing challenges, when fatigue, frustration, or doubt start to creep in. That's when the power of internal commands becomes non-negotiable. In those moments, you are not negotiating with yourself. You are not explaining things to yourself. You are issuing orders. And the key is repetition. Just like a great athlete calls the same play over and over until it's automatic, you build a library of 3 to 5 core phrases and you use them all day. You train yourself to hear them instinctively when you need them most. And if you do this consistently for 3 days, if you start speaking to yourself with clear, powerful, immediate commands, you will feel it. You will feel your system get faster, stronger, more efficient. Because your mind is not confused, it's just waiting for you to give it orders it can follow. There's something most people completely miss when they're trying to build momentum in their lives, and it's costing them massive growth. They think progress has to feel big, dramatic. They wait for huge wins before they allow themselves to feel successful. That's backwards. That's wrong. If you want real lasting change, you have to start acknowledging your micro wins. The smallest forward movement, the tiniest act of discipline must be captured and reinforced internally. You have to reward effort, not just outcome. Because when you acknowledge effort, you engage the dopamine systems in the brain that drive motivation. You create a loop where action leads to reward, and reward makes you crave more action. The brain is built for feedback. It listens closely to whether you recognize when you've done something right, even something small. You finished a workout even though you didn't feel like it. You answered a tough email instead of putting it off. You showed up when it would have been easier to quit. That's not nothing. That's everything. And if you say to yourself in that moment, that's who I am, that's me showing up, you are locking in the behavior neurologically. You're making it easier for your future self to act that way again. Most people think they have a motivation problem. They don't. They have a recognition problem. They take the wins for granted. They move right past them without internalizing the power of what they just did. They starve their own nervous system of the very reinforcement it needs to keep going. But you won't make that mistake. From now on, every time you make a strong choice, even if it feels small, you catch it, you label it. You say, that's the real me. Not the one who hesitates, not the one who drifts, the one who shows up, the one who moves forward, even when it's uncomfortable. You build confidence not by waiting for perfect results, but by stacking evidence every single day that you are becoming the kind of person you want to be. And every time you recognize a micro win, every time you fire that reward signal inside your brain, you're laying another brick in the foundation of an unshakable identity. And if you stay consistent for 3 days, if you deliberately catch and celebrate your own progress, you won't have to wonder if change is happening. You'll feel it building inside you, one decision at a time.